I need you to understand something before I start. I am not crazy. I've said that sentence so many times in the last 8 months that it doesn't even feel like words anymore. It feels like a prayer. Like something I repeat just to keep myself from falling apart. It started on a Tuesday in March. I woke up at 6:47 a.m., same as always. Brushed my teeth. Made coffee. Looked in the mirror. And for just 1 second, the reflection was late. I don't mean it was distorted. I don't mean the glass was foggy. I mean, I raised my hand, and the reflection raised its hand about half a second after me. I blinked. I looked again. Everything was normal. I told myself I was tired. I told myself it was nothing. That was my first mistake. 3 days later, my coworker Sarah, sweet woman, 10 years at the same desk as me, she walks up to me in the break room and says, "Hey, I didn't know you had a twin." I laughed. "I'm an only child," she said. And I'll never forget the look on her face when she said this. She said, "No, I'm serious. Someone who looks exactly like you was sitting in your chair yesterday. When you were out sick." I wasn't out sick. I was at work the entire day. I started keeping a journal. Documenting everything. Day 12, my neighbor said she waved at me from her porch at 3 p.m. I was in a meeting at 3 p.m. There's a sign-in sheet to prove it. Day 19, I found a coffee mug in my apartment that wasn't mine. Same brand as mine. But the handle was chipped in a way I'd never seen before. Like it had been used for years. Day 23, I called my mom. She picked up and said, before I even spoke a single word, she said, "Oh, you're calling again? Didn't we just talk?" I started watching myself. I set up a camera in my apartment. Just a cheap little thing pointed at my front door. For 11 days, nothing. Normal footage. Me coming home. Me leaving. Normal. On the 12th day, I watched myself come home at 7:43 p.m. Then, at 11:58 p.m., long after I'd gone to bed, I watched the front door open again. And I walked back in. Same clothes. Same face. Same walk. Except I, the real me, was asleep in my bedroom the entire time. I never left. Here's what scares me the most. When I showed the footage to my therapist, she went very quiet for a long time. Then she said, "How long have you felt like you were living someone else's life?" And I realized I didn't have an answer. Because somewhere deep in my brain, I wasn't sure anymore which one of us was the replacement. Long pause. Maybe the thing looking back at me from the mirror every morning is the original. And I'm the one who doesn't belong. Sleep well tonight. I'll see you in the next one. I want to tell you about the worst week of my life. The problem is, I'm not sure it ever ended. It was a regular Wednesday. I know it was Wednesday because I had a dentist appointment, and I always schedule those on Wednesdays because I hate Wednesdays already, so might as well ruin the day completely. I drove there. Got my teeth cleaned. Drove home. Simple. The next morning, I woke up and my phone said it was Wednesday. I figured it was a glitch. Restarted the phone. Still Wednesday. I opened my laptop. Wednesday. I checked the newspaper on my doorstep. Yeah, I still get a newspaper, don't judge me. Wednesday, March 11th. Same date as yesterday. I'm not stupid. My first thought was the obvious one. Software bug, daylight saving, something technical. I moved on. I went to work. Sat through the same morning meeting. Watched my coworker Derek spill his coffee on the conference table at exactly 9:14 a.m., the same way he'd spilled it the day before. I laughed a little. Weird coincidence. Then at lunch, my friend Marcus says to me, "Hey, you coming to Janet's birthday thing tonight?" I said, "Marcus, we already went to Janet's birthday thing last night." He looked at me like I had 3 heads. "What are you talking about?" It's tonight. I went home and I sat on my couch and I tried to think logically. Was I sleepwalking? Was I having some kind of dissociative episode? Was I confusing dreams with real memories? I needed proof. Something physical. I went to the dentist's office and I said, I need to confirm I was here yesterday. The receptionist typed on her computer. She said, Sir, you don't have an appointment until tomorrow. Day 3 of Wednesday. I didn't go to work. I didn't call anyone. I sat in my apartment and I wrote down everything I could remember from the original Wednesday. Every detail. Every conversation. Every meal. Then I went through the day and I watched it happen. Derek spilled his coffee at 9:14. Marcus asked about Janet's party. My boss made the same joke about the quarterly report. Word. 4. Word. By day 5, the 5th Wednesday, I stopped being scared. That's the part that should scare you. Because I started to wonder, what if this was normal? What if every week had always been like this, and I just never noticed? What if most people live the same day over and over and they're just comfortable with it? What if the loop isn't the horror? What if waking up from it is? I'm telling you this story on a Thursday. At least, that's what my phone says. But last night, right before I fell asleep, I heard my neighbor's dog bark 3 times. The same 3 barks, same rhythm, same pause between them, that I heard on the first Wednesday. I've been very careful not to check the date this morning. Some things are better left unknown. I work night shifts. I know. Every horror story starts with someone alone at night. But hear me out. Because what happened to me wasn't about darkness. It wasn't about being alone. It was about being watched. I'm a security monitor. I sit in a small room and I watch 16 camera feeds at once. A warehouse complex on the edge of town. Nothing glamorous. Lot of forklifts. Lot of empty hallways. Lot of nothing. For 2 years, the most exciting thing I ever saw was a raccoon knock over a trash can in the loading dock. Then in October, camera 7 started showing static. Just for a second. Just a flicker. A half-second burst of white noise and then, normal again. I reported it. Maintenance came. They said the camera was fine. I started keeping a log of the static. 10:12 p.m. 11:47 p.m. 2:03 a.m. There was no pattern. No pattern I could find, anyway. About 3 weeks in, I'm staring at camera 7. Just staring at it, waiting, and the static hits at 1:16 a.m. And right before it cleared, I saw something in the noise. Not like a ghost. Not like a face. More like structure. Like the static was arranging itself. Like noise becoming signal. I rewound the footage. Frame by frame. And there, in the static, was a shape. A figure. Standing. Arms at its sides. In the hallway of camera 7. When I looked at camera 7's live feed in real time, the hallway was empty. I showed the freeze frame to my supervisor. He said, "That's just compression artifacts. Your brain's pattern matching. It's called pareidolia. You see faces and things." I said, "Does pareidolia stand in the same spot every single time?" Because it did. Every time the static hit camera 7, different time, different night, the figure was in the exact same position. Same hallway. Same corner. Same arms at sides posture. My supervisor stopped responding to my emails. On November 3rd, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I walked into camera 7's hallway myself. In person. At 1 a.m. I stood there for 16 minutes. Waiting. Nothing happened. I went back to the monitor room. And I looked at the camera 7 feed. And I saw myself standing in the corner. Arms at my sides. Unmoving. For 16 minutes. Except I wasn't in the corner. I was in the center of the hallway. I remember exactly where I stood. right under the light. Center of the frame. The camera had put me somewhere I never stood. I quit the next morning. I don't work nights anymore. I don't watch TV that goes to static. I cover my laptop camera with tape. But here's the last thing. The thing I haven't told anyone until right now. The night I quit, I went home, I showered, I sat on my couch. And out of nowhere, my phone screen flickered. 1/2 second burst of static. And in it, just for a frame, I saw the figure. In my living room. Behind me. Silence. I didn't turn around. I don't know why. Maybe because some part of me, the part that's been watching cameras for 2 years, already knew. If you look too long at something in the dark, eventually it starts watching back. Outro, calm voice. That's all for tonight, guys. If these stories got under your skin, if you're checking your mirrors a little differently now, then you're in the right place. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. Support Midnight Masquerade, because these stories, they're just getting darker. I'll see you next time. If I'm still me.